Dear learners, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm sure that from the last video you are clear regarding what is cost and what are the different concepts of cost. In this video we'll be seeing the short run cost curves. Long run cost curve we will be seeing in the next video. What do you mean by short run cost curves? So during short period we are having two kinds of factors known as fixed factor and variable factor. Fixed factor and variable factor. These are the two factors which we are having during short run. So whatever the expenses you are incurring in order to have this fixed factor is known as fixed cost, and the expenses incurred on variable factor is known as variable cost. So during short run the total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. The total cost is the sum total of fixed cost as well as variable cost. During short period, the producer is not having that much resources that the producer can increase the fixed cost also. Machinery he cannot acquire, but during long run he may be having that much resources that in order to increase the production he can increase the fixed factor too. Let us see what are the different cost curve. Let us see the first one, total cost. Total cost is the total money cost which is incurred in order to produce a given quantity of a commodity. For example, in order to produce 500 exercise books, the total expenses incurred is 1000 rupees. In order to produce 500 exercise book, the total expenses is 1000 rupees. Then this 1000 rupees, 1000, this is 1000 not 2000. This 1000 rupees is the total cost of producing 500 books. So therefore, let us see what do you mean by the total cost. Total cost is the sum total of total fixed cost and total variable cost. So fixed cost plus variable cost is known as the total cost. Let us see what is total fixed cost. Total fixed cost, what happens? If this is production, this is fixed cost. Even if the production increases or decreases, there is no change in the total cost. There is no change in the total cost. It means what? The fixed cost remains the same. There is no change in the fixed cost even if the production is zero or if the production is maximum. It will be clear with the help of this following table. You can see that when the production is 0, total fixed cost is 10, and when the production is maximum 6 number of units, still the fixed cost remains the same, which means that the total fixed cost curve is parallel to the OX axis, which is very clear with the help of this diagram. This is your OX axis shows the output and this shows the cost. So you can see that the FC curve is the fixed cost curve and this is parallel to this axis. This is parallel to this axis. This shows that even if the production is 1 or even if the production is 0, the fixed cost is 10. Even if the production is 8, the fixed cost remains 10. Even if it extends to n number of times, the fixed cost will remain still, the fixed cost will be the same. So therefore there is no change in the fixed cost even if the production increases or decreases. Yeah, let us see what is variable cost. By the name itself it says variable cost. It varies with production. For example, when the production increases, variable cost also increases. When the production decreases, variable cost also decreases. When the production is 0, variable cost is 0. So you can see that there is direct relationship between variable cost and production. It means what? Variable cost, when it increases, when production increases, variable cost also increases. When production decreases, variable cost also decreases. When there is no production, there is no variable cost. This is the table showing the relationship between output and variable cost. See that when the production is 0, variable cost is nil, and with the increase in production, variable cost also increases. This is the curve which shows the relationship. This is the curve. VC curve shows how this with the increase in output, the variable cost is increasing. With the increase in output, the variable cost is also increasing. Which means that with increase in output, the variable cost also increases. So the total cost is the sum total of, total cost is the sum total of fixed cost plus variable cost. When you are adding the fixed cost with the variable cost, you will be getting total cost. So you can see that since the fixed cost is remaining the same, total fixed cost is remaining the same, it is parallel to the OX axis. Total variable cost is showing an upward trend, increasing trend. So the total cost will take the shape of the total variable cost. You can see that how this total cost is taking the shape of the total variable cost. This is the figure. This is the difference. When this is being added, the same difference you can see here also. So the total cost is taking the shape of the variable cost. Next one is short run average cost. What is short run average cost? Average cost tells you about the cost per unit. Cost per unit is the average cost. Cost per unit of commodity is known as average cost. How we can compute? A very simple formula. Average cost is equal to total cost divided by quantity. Total cost divided by quantity is known as the average cost. So there are and otherwise during short period, since we can have this fixed cost also, we can compute the average cost by adding average fixed cost and average variable cost. Let us see how we are computing this average fixed cost and average variable cost. Average fixed cost. Average fixed cost, the formula is total fixed cost divided by fixed cost divided by number of units produced is the average fixed cost. Average fixed cost. You can see that the average fixed cost is reducing. Average fixed cost is reducing as the output increases. You can see the output increases and average fixed cost is coming down. Why average fixed cost is coming down? Because the total fixed cost remains the same. With the increase in output, that expenses is being spread over all the production units of production which is being done. So therefore, with the increase in production, what will happen? With the increase in production, the average fixed cost will come down. It will come closer and closer to the OX axis as shown in this diagram. You can see that how it is coming closer and closer to OX axis, but it won't touch OX axis. OX axis it won't touch. Next one is average variable cost. The formula is variable cost, total variable cost divided by number of units produced. So this is your variable cost which we have already seen there. The same values I have taken here also. So you can see that with the increase in production, the variable cost is also decreasing. But to a particular point it is decreasing. Till 7th unit you can see, till this is your 7th unit, till not 7th unit, till 6th unit the average variable cost is declining. First from first unit it was 10, 9, 8, 7. Till 6th unit it was declining 6.3. Then it started increasing. This happens because of what? Because of the application of that law of variable proportion which we have seen already in the production chapter. This is the form average variable cost, and you can see that the average variable cost is U-shaped. English, it is resembling like U shape of English alphabet U, which means that in the beginning the cost is coming down, but after reaching one minimum point again it started rising. This decrease is because of increasing returns to a factor, and this increasing cost is because of decreasing returns to a factor, which we have seen in case of production chapter. This is how the average cost is being computed. Average cost can be easily computed by using the formula total cost divided by number of units. You can see that since the average fixed cost, this is the average fixed cost, this is the average variable cost, this is the average fixed cost, this is the average variable cost. When we are adding these two, you can see this much gap, it will take the shape of U. This is your average cost. So therefore, average cost take the shape of average variable cost. See, this is the diagram of average variable cost, and it resembles U shape. In the beginning, the cost is reducing. After reaching a minimum point, it starts increasing. This is a very important question. Why does the short run average cost curve is U-shaped? It's a very important question. Why does the short run average cost curve, why it is U-shaped? The first point is that it is calculated on the basis of average fixed cost and average variable cost. As I have already shown you that the average cost curve is taking the shape of average variable cost, since the average variable cost is U-shaped. I've told the reason why it is U-shaped. So with the every increase in the output, what happened? Average fixed cost continues to fall like this. It continues to fall like this, and average variable cost is like this, U-shaped, and average cost is like this, U-shape. And this shape it is getting because of average variable cost. Next one is basis of law of variable proportion. What happens in case of law of variable proportion? We have already seen in the production chapter that when we have seen the example of land and labor, when more and more units of labor is combined with the land in the beginning because of underutilization of that land, what happened? The production starts increasing in the beginning, but after that ideal ratio between land and labor, it get disturbed. What happened? It is giving return, but at a diminishing rate. That is what that is the reason why in the beginning the cost is cost is decreasing, and after reaching the minimum point the cost is increasing. That is why the average cost curve is U-shaped. I have told you basis of internal economies and diseconomies. What happened? I already mentioned, I have posted a separate video for internal and economies and diseconomies. So therefore economies and diseconomies, I have told there are two kinds of economies and diseconomies. You can refer that video in order to understand this concept. Because of this reason also what happened, internal economies as well as internal diseconomies, what happened, the average cost curve is U-shaped. Next one is marginal cost. Marginal cost is the change in the total cost due to the production of one more unit of output or one less unit of output. What the difference you can see in the total cost due to the production of one more or one less unit of output is known as marginal cost. Marginal cost is being computed by the help of very easy formula. You can see marginal cost of n number of units is equal to total cost of n number of units minus total cost of n minus 1 number of units. This is the formula. You can see how this marginal cost is being computed. How the marginal cost is being computed. This is not average cost. This is marginal cost. Just correct it. Marginal cost. So in this marginal cost, you can see that it shows the difference between these two. 28, 20 minus 0, 20. 28 minus 8, 8, 34 minus 28, 6. So you can compute like in the form. You can see the marginal cost is also U-shaped. This is your marginal cost. Let us see the different relationship between average cost and marginal cost. This is the relationship between average cost and marginal cost. Yeah, let us see the relation between average cost and marginal cost. From this table, you can see that average cost, marginal cost, both are computed. The first difference is the average cost and marginal cost both are computed from the total cost, no doubt. Marginal cost, the formula is TCN minus TCN minus 1. Average cost, total cost divided by number of units. So marginal cost and average cost both are calculated from the total cost. You can see that when average cost is decreasing, marginal cost also declines. You can see that average cost is declining, marginal cost is also declining. When average cost increases, 8, 9, 8, 16, marginal cost also increases. And at one point you can see that the marginal cost and average cost is equal. After this point, the average cost starts increasing. You can see that the marginal cost starts increasing before the average cost, and average cost after becoming equal. After minimum point, the average cost starts increasing. At its minimum point, it becomes equal to marginal cost, and after that, the average cost starts increasing. When average cost falls, marginal cost also falls. You can see this. When average cost falls, marginal cost also falls, and the frequency you can see is more in case of marginal cost. Why frequency is more? It is below the marginal average. Marginal cost is below the average cost curve. Since this marginal cost is for one particular unit, but average cost is for the whole set of units being produced. You can see when average cost increases, marginal cost also increases. And at the time of increasing or decreasing, the frequency or the rapidity, you can see it is more in case of marginal cost. When it decreases, marginal cost is below. When it increases, marginal cost is above. Marginal cost curve is cutting at the average cost curve at its lowest point. As I've told you there, that this is your average cost curve and this is the minimum point, and at this minimum point the marginal cost curve is cutting. You can see that after reaching this point the marginal averages starts increasing, but still at this point the average cost is decreasing. After that after the point where the marginal cost and average cost becomes equal, after that point only average cost starts increasing. This point also I have covered here, that FE. You can say that average cost curve in case of FE it is still increasing, but this point you can see it is increasing. So marginal cost starts increasing before the average cost curve, and average cost a point when it becomes minimum and it becomes equal to marginal cost curve. After touching this, intersecting this only, the average cost curve starts increasing. These are the relationship of different cost curves during short period. How you can see, I have already explained you this, and you can see that this is the fixed cost curve, average fixed cost, this is the average variable cost. I have already explained this. When you are adding this two, you will be getting average cost, and remember that marginal cost will be cutting the average variable cost as well as average cost at its minimum point. These are the short run cost curves. Thank you.